It was a normal work day, just another shift until a guy burst into the break room looking like he'd seen a ghost. "Come quick," he shouted, panic in his voice. "X cut his finger off." I froze for half a second, my brain racing to process the words. Then instinct took over. As the shift first aider, this was my moment. I grabbed the first thing I could find, a clean tea towel from the cafeteria, and dampened it quickly under the sink. My heart was pounding as I rushed to the machine room where X was. When I arrived, the scene hit me like a ton of bricks. He was sitting down, his hand elevated, pale as a sheet. No, scratch that, he was ghostly. I've never seen someone so white, like the blood had just drained out of him. And then I saw it. His finger was gone. Just gone. What surprised me the most wasn't the missing finger. It was the lack of blood. I'd expected a gruesome, gory mess, but there was almost nothing. His body had hit some kind of emergency brake, like it was trying to hold everything together. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to stay calm for his sake. "Okay," I said, kneeling down beside him. "We need to keep your hand elevated." He nodded, but he was moving like he was stuck in slow motion, while everything around us felt like it was on fast forward. Someone handed me his severed finger. Yeah, the finger. I carefully wrapped his hand and the finger together in the damp tea towel, making sure everything was secure. What struck me was how calm he was. He wasn't crying, screaming, or panicking. Instead, he was answering my questions like he was reciting a grocery list. "How did it happen? What's your blood type? Any allergies?" He even gave me his wife's phone number, completely unfazed. It was surreal. He was like a robot on autopilot. We got him into a car, and one of the managers took the wheel, hazards on, horn blaring, weaving through rush-hour traffic like a scene out of a movie. They were driving straight down the center line, and I couldn't believe it. Cars actually moved out of the way. It was like Moses parting the Red Sea, but with honking. While they sped to the hospital, I called ahead to the ER. "We've got a partial amputation coming in," I told them. "Severed finger, patient stable but in shock." When they arrived, the hospital team was already waiting outside. They whisked him into surgery, and I didn't hear anything until later. Turns out, they got him into the operating room within the golden hour, that critical window where a severed body part can still be reattached. And they pulled it off. They saved his finger. He came back to work a few weeks later, his finger intact, but sporting a white scar that wrapped around it like a ring. He couldn't bend it all the way, maybe 90%, but it worked. He was incredibly lucky. What really stuck with me was what he told me after. He didn't remember any of it. Not the accident, not answering my questions, not even the car ride to the hospital. It was all a blank. The first thing he remembered was waking up after surgery, in pain, but thankful his finger was back where it belonged. That day taught me a lot about how important it is to stay calm under pressure. You never know when quick thinking might make all the difference, maybe even save a life. So here's my advice. Be ready for the unexpected. Because when life throws something insane your way, like a severed finger, you don't get time to think, you just have to act.